it took me out for a bit, and like I started literally trying to solve the movie without watching it while it was still going on. I was like, okay, so what do you do, or where are we going, or this or that? And I realized, oh, the movie's still playing. I should probably pay attention to it because there's still a half hour left.
Here's
Watching
the
Marvel
thing. This is
stuff.
what I was going to say. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I think Marvel's got something, and they've obviously proved that they can make a good movie and people will pay and they'll see it. But I think at some point, it's like, okay, we've done this.
Well,
like,
so it...
And not necessarily this, because obviously there's different stories and but like, how long have we been doing this now? How many different storylines? Because how many different heroes and characters and stuff are there?
Yeah, the problem is once the main people that you care about are gone,
like,
why are you showing back up, right? Because it was HBO, then it was HBO To Go, then it was HBO Go, then it was HBO Max, and now it's just fucking Max. Welcome to the Decision Reel Movie Review Podcast, where we try and fail to review movies of today and yesterday. This week, we're looking at a movie picked by someone who's not here.
Josh!
He's not here. It's only Steve and Tara today.
Josh is at home dying.
Everybody's getting a little sick. I got a little... Oh, you can kind of hear it. I got my radio voice going. Sure.
Sunday.
Something like that. It's going in and out, but we're here. It's good enough. We're going to review The Nice Guys.
Good enough.
It's good enough. Yeah. We're going to review the movie The Nice Guys as picked.
I know that you always get that reference. A lot of people don't.
Not a lot of people get a lot of references from movies because they don't watch a lot of movies. Or they watch it once and forget about it. Normally, for me, I watch... If I like a movie...
Multiple times.
I'll watch it multiple times. This movie, however...
Multiplicity, you'd say.
Look, okay, if you want to talk about that movie, I've watched that movie multiple times.
I was actually so sad that I wasn't on...
We haven't done Multiplicity.
I thought you did.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, it's on my list.
It's on my list,
But I thought you guys
too.
had done it already.
No, there's a handy-dandy thing you can do. And for people listening at home, they can go to www.thedecisionreel.com and check out all of our previous episodes, as well as our ranking system we have up there. We have all of our scores and everything, so you can go back from episode 1 to what we're at today, episode 143, and check out what we scored it. Obviously, if you are on there and you're looking at it, you're going to see there's different names up there. We've gone through a cavalcade of cast members.
I think the only reason I thought it had been done before is because for some reason I thought I had seen like the cover. Like I thought I had seen you guys share the cover before.
No.
Which is, of course, him just like...
Multiplied.
Yeah. And her there.
As that person, she should have been blonde in that movie. Because how she wouldn't know, you have to be not very bright.
I think their life, without getting too far into it, because I know you and I could talk about this movie forever, but I think that's just how chaotic their life was. That she was just like, this is right. Like, this is... And it wasn't a long period of time.
True.
Either. So she did start picking up on it, like, why are you a different person every fucking day?
True.
Which is why she's like, I think you have
multiple,
like,
just
bipolar or something. Like,
and to a perfectly reasonable person, you can't clone somebody. So yeah, it's still him.
Good movie though. My dad loves that movie too. My dad and I still regularly will quote that movie, especially Steve.
Steve, pizza.
I got a wallet.
That's my favorite thing to say when we have pizza. I love pizza. Anyway, so back to what we're actually here to talk about. The Nice Guys. I want to say something about this movie. I actually have never seen it.
You had never seen it?
I've never seen it.
This was your first. This was the first.
This was the first for me. Not a lot on this show for me, but I will say this. I've always wanted to watch it, and I've had it on my Plex for a long time. I just haven't gotten to it. And I feel like this is what everybody else is with this movie. Like, anybody you talk to, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I heard about it. I heard it's really good. Haven't seen it.
I think it was like... I think actually whatever night it was that we watched it, I think it was Carrick's pick. Like I had heard of it and I was absolutely like, let's watch it, like gung-ho, but I think it was his pick. And it was, you know, it wasn't recent the first time I had seen it. It came out a few years ago, but we think watched it like a few years ago. We did not watch it when it came out. It wasn't that long ago that we watched it. Gotcha. But I have seen it a couple times since because it'll, like while scrolling Sometimes it'll pop up, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, the
Let's
nice guys. Let's get
throw
into
that
it.
on. Why not? Ryan Gosling, sure.
I gotta say,
Can't hurt my TV for him to be
Ryan
on it.
Gosling's been popping up, obviously, because of the new Barbie movie and
Mm.
stuff like this all the time. And there's been some movies that I've gone back and watched. Obviously, you picked one. What was it? A month ago or
The
whatever.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, and I feel like Ryan Gosling is slowly going up for me in my book of
him.
like he can do anything, and he does it well, and he's not out of place.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like look at the Barbie movie. Like you would have to be a specific type of actor to go into that role to be cast, but then to pull off being Ken in that movie, you got to be pretty good.
And I feel like it could have been a role that somebody could have just phoned in. You know what
Sure.
I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, like ditzy stuff or
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm.
But I feel like you could tell that he didn't.
No,
just
to,
phone it in.
and
You
to
know what
me,
I mean?
he was the best part of the movie.
He's,
We
that's
don't.
the opposite of what the movie is trying to.
I know that.
I know,
The
like-
problem I had with and we're okay, real quick, we're gonna spoil Barbie real quick here.
Oh God, no.
As much as the movie got praised, I felt like it was a mess. It was all over the place. It was trying to do this huge, like, you know, women are still suppressed and women still have such a hard time and all this stuff, which agreed. But also, like, it wasn't doing that in a good way to me. And then having Will Ferrell be there with all the bigwig guys, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Barbie is real, and it's in Barbie Land, and we can go there. Okay, so are there more than one Barbie Land? Because if one Barbie in Barbie Land represents
All of the Barbies.
a woman play or a girl playing with that Barbie, because they said each one is one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's more than 20 Barbies in the world.
Yeah, because everybody who has a Barbie then, is that,
Right.
did they create another world? Did they open another?
Right. Is this just the Santa Monica Pier Barbie thing? Or also, okay, so Mattel has made a whole bunch of other things.
Themed Barbies.
Well, I'm not talking just
Too.
Barbie, just other toys. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if G.I. Joe's in Mattel's lineup or whatever, but are those real? You know, can we go to the G.I. Joe land?
You might be diving too deep.
Yeah, but the movie's presenting me with these things, right? So
I
they're
hear you.
trying to tell me this is real, but then they don't ever describe why, how, and does it really matter? Am I looking way too deep into a movie about Barbie? Yeah, but when you're telling me all this stuff is real,
Yeah, well, and that's true too, because it is supposed to have deep meaning. I feel like it's where do you stop?
exactly, and that's where the whole movie to me undermines itself, is because it's trying to be deep and it's trying to do all this stuff while also being goofy, fun, and stupid.
Mm.
Which it succeeds at all that. When it leans into that the Ken fight on the beach,
It accomplished a lot of what it went in to accomplish.
I agree.
Doesn't mean you didn't leave with some what ifs,
Like,
or questions.
but also, okay, so anybody can go to Barbie Land. So why is this now a thing where it takes Barbie and Ken and the mom and the daughter gets there? They get there in a second, but all the bigwig guys and Will Ferrell, it takes forever for them to get there.
Who didn't even know that it was a thing.
Well, Will Ferrell apparently did.
Right. But never went there before.
Right. And then, I don't know. It's just, when the movie's good, it's doing the dumb, stupid stuff. When it stumbles for me is when it tries to be a little more serious or more, how would I say, let me tell you why the world is wrong, you know? And
I mean, I will say, though, like, America Ferrera's speech in it will still, like, I feel like you can't,
great speech,
you'll
but
always,
I don't feel like the movie it needed to be in
matched.
there. Yeah, it didn't match what he was doing. Like, look at the fight on the beach with the Kens. And then you have her doing this super serious, you know, women still are fighting for their rights type thing, which, again, 100% agree with, but it just doesn't fit the tone of the movie to me.
maybe
Yeah.
that was the point. Maybe they wanted it to be more like, we can do it all.
Well, I mean, I like the whole idea of, you know, Barbie, like, hey, you guys ever thought about death? And it's like, wait a second. That's what I wanted them, right? That's what I wanted them to lean into, and then they kind of didn't.
Mm.
And then now she's real because the creator of Barbie she met somehow, that's at Mattel's HQ, who's dead, but's
I
not.
want more real answers for a movie about a doll.
If you're going to
probably.
make a doll into a real person at the end and not really explain how it happened, but yet these people can go to and from Barbie
Steve
Land,
needs more.
I need more.
Steve needs more.
Look, we've gotten sidetracked, and I've done
You're
it to myself.
being such an Alan right now.
Shut
Like,
up. The plot.
what else? What other movies can we do?
The plot of The Nice Guys. In 1970s Los Angeles, a mismatched pair of private eyes investigate a missing girl and the mysterious death of a porn star. Now, I want to say something. Why in the hell? And I thought this was like a dream sequence for that kid in the beginning of the movie because
Where
it
he goes
opens.
out to the
It
car.
opens on him looking at the porno mag of what was her name? Not Christy Canyons, but something like that. Something Mountains,
It was something like
Misty
that.
Mountains or something.
Misty.
Something.
Yeah,
Anyways,
sure.
so he sees that and looks at it, and then all of a sudden a car crashes through his house, and then it's her, but yet she's provocatively like strewn across that rock. Did she do that to herself? And then she says the name of the movie, or like
Yeah,
her,
I mean,
her
it's
line
weird
in the
because it
movie?
looks like, I guess she landed that way.
Just
I
ass
like
naked.
that the boy covered her up, though. Like, he
Yeah, sure.
hears the sirens, and he's like, oh, well, let me.
No, he knows who
Cover
it
her
is,
up.
obviously.
Mhm.
But also, why is she naked?
I don't know. She did have a shirt on, but it was.
Right.
Were they flee? I can't remember. Okay.
That's why I
They
thought
were
it was.
fleeing. So were they fleeing from a set?
To me, the way the movie sets it up later
Yeah.
was they went to the house to watch the film.
The film that they were making.
Well, no, okay, no, I take it back because the old lady says she sees her alive 2 days after her death. So no, that's not entirely correct. So I don't know. But to me, it's set up as that's that boy's like fantasy of, oh, her car crashed through my house. Okay, yeah, she dies, but look, oh, she's naked on the rock. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just right out the bat, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Right. Did it have my attention? Sure.
Oh yeah. Why?
But
Shocking.
I was not expecting that. Right in the beginning, I'm,
Yeah.
getting a drink ready, getting some food ready, and all of a sudden I'm like, what in the fuck?
You look up at the TV and you're just like, what did I miss?
Car through a house and titties everywhere. All right. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a guys movie.
He was also super calm though too.
Yeah, I feel like if a car
Like a
crashed
car not
through
just
my
came
house,
through your house, but this chick is dying.
and you're just like, well,
And you're just like, well, I should probably cover her up.
Right.
But no other like reaction to what just occurred.
at all. You literally
all.
just, okay.
And just walked out there
Right.
too.
No,
Like,
let me
not
run.
like what just happened?
Again, why I thought it was like a dream sequence.
Also, like, did the parents ever wake up? Because like, how could you not?
Were they even home?
Didn't they show them in bed? I thought they.
Maybe I missed that. Maybe
I
they
thought
were
they
in bed.
did.
I don't, but how? Yeah, unless the car went through the bedroom and got them too.
They're down there too.
Maybe
Direct them
that would be kind of wild. Where to watch this guy? This is on Netflix.
on Netflix.
This is not a thing that happens a lot on this show.
I think we've just
We,
gone so obscure sometimes that like.
Old and obscure sometimes.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. So, subscription Netflix. If you want to pay for it, you can rent it on YouTube, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, Redbox, Vudu, and Amazon. It's written and directed by Shane Black. That name should sound somewhat familiar
You're gonna
to
tell
us
me.
on this show,
Yep.
but I'll get to it. He's written Lethal Weapon 1 and 2,
Mm.
Last Action Hero, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. We've done that movie on this show.
I know.
Yeah. With
I like this one more.
Samuel L. Jackson and
Yeah.
Gina
This
Davis.
one's better.
He's also directed Iron Man 3 in the Predator movie that came out in 2018.
Didn't see that. I mean, I've seen Iron Man 3,
Yeah, but not the new Predator. I heard it was not good.
but I haven't seen any of those. So, the Predators or the Aliens.
I saw the newest one that came on Hulu called Prey. That's actually worth watching.
I have not
Uh,
watched that, but I've heard you say that.
Yeah, it's not a Predator movie. I mean, it is, but it's
It is,
not.
but it
It's
isn't.
not made that way. It's made more of a. It's in the Indian time or whatever, and people are obviously trying to do what they do in those times, and a predator shows up, and chaos ensues, and it's pretty good. It's a quick, I think 90, pretty good. It's a quick 90-minute in and out movie. It's fast paced, and I thought it was really good.
This movie is 2 hours.
This movie, we'll get to it
Ish.
here in a second. Runtime, 160 minutes. So almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I think it said like an hour 55 on my thing, which I guess technically that's 56, but it said 55 on mine.
Maybe they're not counting for the second. Maybe they're rounding up.
Maybe there's a minute of a scene that was not in my version.
Okay, so I have to say something, and you might not remember this, but in the scene in which the lady who Ryan Gosling has like a crush on that's working for
The assistant
the
of whatever
assistant.
she is, yeah.
It felt weirdly edited where she slips on the coffee. It almost like it was almost like, hey, she's slipping on it and then like not breaking her neck, but hitting her head somewhere and being knocked out. I don't know if I just blinked really long and didn't really see what happened, but it was like she slipped and then she was just on the floor.
I mean, I can't remember seeing a version where there was something else.
I just think the way it should have gone was she slipped and as she fell, she hit her head like on the table or something and then hit the ground. But the way it portrayed to me was she just slipped
Just
and
like-
fell.
But
she's out cold.
Yeah.
Because, he puts a pillow under her head.
Yeah,
And in the moment, obviously later in the movie, she wakes back up. But in the moment, I was like, oh, did she die?
that is a problem.
Right.
Again.
Whatever. This is rated R for violence, sexuality, nudity, obviously, language, and brief drug use. Trying to think of the drug use.
That party
I mean, he
they're
says
at.
smelling weed, but I
and,
don't see them use anything.
I'm sure there was. Like, because there were parts at bars and parties, maybe there were, and it was more like a quick, like, dip in the finger onto the teeth, gums type thing. I don't know. I can't remember.
That makes sense for this. No, it's the 70s.
It's that time.
Now, I do like the aesthetic of this movie, the way it looks, the way it flows almost. Like, the movie itself just has a good timing with everything. There's no, like, wasted, I don't know, scenes. There's no, how would I say, parts where you're sitting there going,
It's not like lag.
right, yeah, keep going. I like,
It's a decent pace and stuff.
yeah, again, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I don't understand why this movie isn't talked about.
Or even the slower scenes, they had things in them to keep them like interesting, whether it was like vital information or whether it was a goofy little like banter with the
Right.
even when they go and all the kids are laying on the ground pretending to be dead for their protest. Like even that little thing is just so
It felt
funny to me.
It felt very slapstick comedy too, but
Mhm.
then also serious at times. So you could say that, yeah, the vibe of the movie was not all over the place, but kind of
It
wherever.
had goofy moments. It was like some like
Right.
they're goobers.
It
but
felt
they do know what they're doing, but they're also goofballs. Like
Well, I don't think Ryan Gosling's character knows what he's doing.
I think he does because he shows it multiple times where
He's just
he's
drunk.
like, that's clearly a blah. But yeah, there are other times where he's stumbling through, but I think that's because he's got issues, and so
Right.
he gets off track. But like even with him pointing out that was a was it a flight number or something like that?
Yeah.
And it was a number that he had been holding on to.
And then saying that the date was
Mhm.
European. and
Yeah,
all
so I mean,
that,
it's not that he's not useless. He just is a little gullible and
Yeah,
makes
and
him
then
kind of goofy.
did you fall down again? Did you fall down that mountain or that fucking hill? That was hilarious.
That is so when shoot me.
I got a good fun fact for that scene in particular later in the show when we get there. But this is starring Ryan Gosling as Holland March, Russell Crowe as Jackson Healy. I'm not sure how to say this name. Agori Rice, Angori, Angourie.
Sure.
Angori Rice is Holly March, the little girl. Matt Boomer is John Boy. Margaret
Bomber, I think.
Bomber, is it Bomber?
I think it's
Boomer?
Bomber.
Bomber?
I
Sure.
don't think it's Boomer. I think it's Bomber.
Margaret Qualley is
Or
Amelia.
Bomer.
Yaya DaCosta
Yaya.
is Tally. Keith David, my man, is just the older guy. He doesn't even
My
have a
man.
name in this movie, just older guy. And Kim Basinger as Judith. We said the runtime, 116 minutes. It is, I mean, for a movie like this, you want it to have some depth and some runtime. You don't want it to be in and out. There's a story to kind of unpack here. They got to figure out things. You obviously want the mystery to be there of what's going on, and you want them to solve things, and you want to be in that and kind of, twists and turns with, okay, we did something wrong or we're on the right track and stuff like
Especially
that.
even that, like, honestly, like you brought up too, the old lady who said that she had seen her after her death and stuff. It throws this whole, because is she senile? Is she crazy? Did she really see? Because
Right.
in the whole movie, you're like, wait a second, like,
Well, and then
how?
she's got, as he says, like Coke bottles for glasses. Like she can't fucking see anything, which makes perfect sense when the reveal comes of, yes, she did see her, but it was on the fucking
The
the
TV or
wall
whatever.
from them watching the projector of that movie. Now, I will say
through
that
the window.
their whole idea of trying, and again, I know that's the whole point, is it wasn't a well thought out kind of thing of taking down this big entity, or the big deal or whatever it was with regard to smog and stuff like that, was that they were going to make a porno film and then stuff all that stuff in it for people to see, to get out to the masses. I mean, obviously we weren't alive in the 70s. Was porno films like that able to get to the masses?
I think that this was, and the only reason I say this is because I do, and I hope that another season comes out soon, but I watched that show Minx. Have you heard of this? So
Minx.
I think it was originally on Stars maybe, but it's switched to another network. I think only 2 seasons have come out, but Jake Johnson is in it, and I'm not going to remember the main girl's name, but it's about how they started making magazines geared towards women.
Okay.
And he was in the porn magazine world already, like multiple different types of magazines geared to different demos. And he liked her idea for a magazine, but that's not really what she wanted to do.
Interesting.
She wanted to put hard-hitting stuff in those magazines so that there was more substance. And he was like, well, we can do that, but then let's just make a whole new one. And so they've got guys and stuff. And that show was more in like the 60s, 70s era. And so I think it was relatively booming.
Yeah, I mean,
by that
look
point.
at what was Mad Men? Wasn't that the whole idea of that show, was about making a magazine or whatever?
Well, Mad Men, I never finished Mad Men, but I know in the first initial seasons of Mad Men, it was they are like an advertising company.
Or that was it. Okay,
or something. So I don't know if they ever got into that eventually, but their thing was marketing and stuff.
Marketing.
But that is, I mean, that's the era. That's the era where you can smoke inside buildings.
Do whatever,
You do whatever.
It's the Wild West out there. Yeah, and
War,
so
all that shit. So
right.
like,
So their idea or their plan, again, the whole plot of this movie, and where I kind of
you pull people in with the
with the
porn,
with the racy, spicy stuff,
but they take away some vital
information.
protesting.
Right. Yeah. In between.
In between.
Sure.
The propaganda's in there.
Would that be like the first? What were those like spoof movies that they made where they were like spoofing like this ain't
like
the Brady Bunch or the Seinfeld ones and all that stuff that they did, like the porno did or whatever lately? That's hilarious. But I guess it wouldn't really be a spoof movie. But I don't know. I just don't see that being a good idea.
I think it also. I mean, I think also part of it was because she knew that her mom wouldn't like it either. Like, I think they tied that. I think, yes, it was to grab attention. Yes, it was to get people watching. But I think also she was like, fuck my mom. Like, at this point, like, I'm also gonna embarrass the shit out of her by her daughter being in it and all this stuff, like, or having something to do with it. Now,
the plan to splice the movie into the Detroit Auto Show's whatever movie, I feel like that's like the afterthought because everybody's dead and this is all we can do. Because if that was the whole idea, they didn't need to make a porno movie.
Not a whole, they didn't have to make a whole thing.
Or a whole movie at all.
Unless they planned on also distributing it, but this was the...
Right.
This was the thing. This was the...
Well, because
also to fuck them over.
Well, at that point, the only person who's left alive is the kid from the beginning who tipped them off on where to go that was from the original protest, right? Who's like, yeah, I'll make $20. So what's wild is, you know who that person is in real life? That is Val Kilmer's son.
That kid? That guy?
Yeah. I looked that up today. I was like, oh, look at that. And he hasn't been in much
Has
lately.
he done much of anything?
Not really. Been in all like movies that are like 3 out of 10s.
Random shit.
Yeah.
Was he big parts in them, or was he just like this?
I didn't look that far into it. But
Curious.
release date of this is May 20th, 2016.
I will say,
Yeah.
I did not realize how old it was. Like I knew it wasn't recent,
Yeah,
but
2016 isn't
I
old,
thought it
but
was
yeah.
maybe like 2020.
Sure.
Like I didn't realize how long ago it had come out.
Yeah, and again, like this is one of those things of I remember it coming out, but I never
That's why
went.
I thought it was a little bit more recent than that.
Right, I never went, yeah, let's go see it, or like there was much buzz around it. So it's kind of a weird situation where anybody that I've ever talked to about it or who's brought it up is like, oh man, this movie's great, you got to see it. But nothing about it has made me go, okay, I'm going to put this at the top of my list to watch based off of all this new movies that are coming out or
stuff,
whatever,
yeah.
or other stuff. So I feel like I don't know if I would have even watched it if Josh never picked it.
Yeah.
I got a big backlog of movies to watch, and this was in it.
It's on there, but
It's way down.
Yeah.
Maybe not towards the bottom.
are you glad
but,
that you watched it?
Oh, I'm happy that I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. There's one part that took me out of the movie completely and made me go, well, okay. And like kind of just made me sit there and not even watch the movie, like trying to work it out. And that's when the main girl that they're trying to find gets shot on the side of the road. And then that's it. And I was like, what? The whole point of the movie was to find this girl and protect her. And then they do. And her stupid whatever stuff, she just leaves, which I
She's
understand.
paranoid, and someone did come after her, so
There's,
she ran.
yeah, I mean, to her, there's a guy
and just
outside shooting. Yeah.
poor luck that the guy she tries to get a ride with
Yep.
is the guy that was trying to kill her. So
So at that point,
unfortunate.
yeah, when that happened, I went,
Is this done? Are we done?
right, what do they do? I was like, well, I don't understand. And again, going back to, okay, well, now the new plan is we need to figure out how to show this movie, or I guess how to figure out how to get the actual movie that we're
Justice.
watching.
We
The
need
new,
the justice.
well, yeah, but I don't know. It just took me out for a bit, and like I started literally trying to solve the movie without watching it while it was still going on. I was like, okay, so what do you do, or where are we going, or this or that? And I realized, oh, the movie's still playing. I should probably pay attention to it because there's still a half hour left. So
I think even more than that.
or maybe,
almost.
yeah. But I don't know. I've never had that in a movie in a long time where something happened to jar me completely out of paying attention to the movie.
I also didn't really like when they first find her and she jumps on their car and shoots at him.
And then
I'm
falls
like,
backwards. Yeah.
That also, that's the guy that you just paid a little bit ago to stop somebody from finding you. So like, did you not recognize him when you looked in the window before you shot at him? Like,
She just fell. Well, not fell, but she just climbed down a building and then landed on that car. You ain't gonna.
but she did look
She did.
and then shoot.
That was another thing that was weird to me is how she just finds him and then pays him to say, "Hey, get this guy off my back." It was kind of random.
It seemed like she had done it before. Like the way that they were engaging with each other.
Right.
Like very little was said at first.
Well, I thought it was more along the lines of like she was just from the same high school that girl was at, that he originally punched that dude, to show what he
and
does.
so they just knew.
And I thought it was like, okay, here's another girl from high school who needs something instead of whatever he was doing. And then I didn't realize, oh, this is the main girl that they're looking for until like halfway through the movie. Even though they have said it a bunch, it could be me, but I didn't put the two together. And then finally I was like, oh, that's the girl from the beginning. Okay.
Just shoot us back up.
Right. I don't know. It was just a little, and again, I don't know if it was me not paying attention that well, even though I was in the movie. Like I didn't pick my phone up. I didn't do anything but watch this movie, and I was in it, but it just felt, I don't know, weirdly done. Not in a bad way, but just like I didn't follow it. And I'm normally pretty keen on following things.
What's the movie? God, I've seen it more than one time too. There's a movie where it starts where he's kind of one of these guys where like people pay him to take care of like a girl paid him to go and like show up at the guy's place and be like, leave this fucking girl alone. And then it turns into something else. Like he actually gets recruited to do something else. But like that's how the movie started. And he showed up at the guy's place, and I think the guy thinks that he's like the pizza guy or something, but then the actual pizza guy shows up. But he's like threatening them to leave this girl alone because he's been like bothering her or stalking her or something.
It's not ringing any bells.
God, I wish I could remember like
Anybody
who it
who's in
was.
it? Because that would jar some memory.
I know. I cannot. I know it's not an older guy that's doing it, but he's not like a teen either. Like he's. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Chris Evans, but I don't think it's Chris Evans. But like someone like that, where he
Matt
could still
Damon.
pull off like late 20s or something, but he's pocketing money from like, you know. I'm trying to remember.
The talented Mr.
I'm sure
Ripley.
that I can look it up somehow, and it'll like
Probably. I
let's
mean,
see.
you put the plot in and something comes up,
Guy
does stuff, does things. Well, you're looking for that.
Yeah,
Let me
you
tell
go
the
ahead.
viewers here, if you're watching, you could subscribe to us on YouTube, or you can go to our website. On our website, we have merch available where you can buy and support us that way. You can use the code REEL10, REEL10 for 10% off your order. We got hats, shirts, leggings, cups, whatever you want to have our logo or things on, it's on there. And, we'd appreciate that if you bought something. We've actually had a couple people buy some sweaters from us recently, 2 hats, and I believe a shirt. So they are people out there wearing the Decision Reel merch.
They're out there.
They are out there. We got our guy, Sean, from the Review It Yourself podcast, who me and Randy were on last week with him reviewing Lethal Weapon 4. We just did and finished up our Lethal Weapon series with him. We've done all 4 of the Lethal Weapon movies with him over the last year, which is actually fucking wild because the date that we did the Lethal Weapon 4 review was a week before we did the Lethal Weapon 1 review a year ago exactly. So I believe that was like November 21st last year, and we just did it last week, so it was like November 7th or something. So I think he's going to drop that actual episode like either the 20th or 21st. That way it's like exactly a year. But check that out. Back to Tara finding this movie.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not with what I'm typing in, at least.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
going to find this out.
Okay.
I'm going to figure it out.
Was it like Michael Fassbender? Because he's been in
Just
some
don't-
movies like that.
I can't remember, like, I wish I could remember what happens after, because this is definitely like the start of the movie. It's kind of like introducing his character. Like, this is what, like, he just does odd jobs. Like, people pay him to do these things.
Okay.
And, like, so he shows up at this guy's, I don't know if it was a dorm or an apartment, and he's basically like,
Sure
you're going to
wasn't-
stop bothering such and such. Like, blah,
Could have
blah,
been
blah.
a TV show. Or an episode of something like Black Mirror or whatever, where it's like not.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it was.
Did you see it in theaters?
Oh no! And I think I've seen it more than once.
Oh,
but
shit. All right. Did you have to put a piece of media into something to watch it?
No,
Okay. I was just
I
seeing if
don't
that
think
would
so.
date that somehow.
I don't believe so.
Well, as you're doing that, we're going to get to the box office that week, the top 10.
I like that. Yeah.
This was, again, May 20th, 2016. Number 10, Mother's Day.
Okay. It was one of those. It was like Valentine's Day where there's a bunch of stars in it.
Okay.
Their stories all kind of
But
like
it's Mother's Day.
intertwine and yeah, except it's Mother's Day.
Nice. Number 9, The Huntsman, Winter's War.
Chris Hemsworth
Mm,
and
maybe.
Kristen Stewart.
The Huntsman.
I don't fucking know. I'm
Sure.
pretty sure it's Chris Hemsworth. But
Number 8, a movie I actually liked that I didn't think I was going to like, Zootopia,
oh yeah.
The Sloth.
Oh, at the DMV. Oh my god.
Genius.
So funny.
Number 6,
Also annoying, but
sorry, number 7. Oh, I almost skipped one there. Number 7, The Darkness.
just the darkness.
The Darkness. There was a video game called The Darkness back in the day, 1 and 2, and the guy from, what's that band? Faith No More did the voice for the monster that was in it. So you know how like all Faith No More songs have like weird like, lyrics and stuff?
Sure.
He did like
The
stuff like
voice
that.
of the-
Yeah, it
But
was
for
just
the
good.
monster in
Yeah,
there.
it was kind of cool because that was like a big thing back in the day. I think it was like a PS3 game.
That's pretty-
Yeah, and of course there's a band called The Darkness. Number 6, Money Monster.
What is that?
Probably a movie about money with a monster in it. Hey, look, I have
Thanks,
this
Steve.
thing.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that
no problem.
from you. It's helpful.
Money Monster, 2016 film, has George Clooney and Julia Roberts.
What?
Dominic West. Oh my God, this had to have been a big movie that I somehow never seen. Jack O'Connell.
I like all of
Who the
them.
fuck is Jack O'Connell? Financial TV host Lee Gates and his producer Patty are put in an extreme situation when an irate investor takes them and their crew hostage. I have seen the trailer for this. I remember watching George Clooney just be in everything with.
I don't. None
fucking-
of that is like ringing a bell.
No, but why was George Clooney in a whole bunch of stuff with Julia Roberts for a while there?
So, I don't know, but so that movie that they just did, I think in 2023, it was more of like a rom-com
Sure.
where they were like a divorced couple.
Mhm.
I remember reading that like they were interviewing Julia Roberts about it, and she hadn't done a rom-com in a long time, and she said this was just like it was the one. Like
Huh.
when she read it, to do another movie with Clooney and stuff. She was like, yeah, we just.
I like George. What can I
Yeah.
say?
Because I guess she was kind of trying to imply that it was going to take the right, like rom-com
Right.
to
bring
put
it
her back
together.
into that. Yeah,
I got you. There's nothing
it
wrong
was
with that.
cute. It wasn't like, I mean, she's done better, but it
Done
was
better.
it was okay.
I got it. I'm not mad at it. I'd
I
watch
even
it.
just tried searching Chris Evans to see if one of his movies would jump out at me because it's that type of guy that I'm seeing. But
Right.
none of them jump out at me, so I don't think it was him.
Interesting.
I'm going to find this movie.
Are you?
Yes, maybe. I guess I might not, but like I hope to. What is this one?
Well, number 5, The Jungle Book.
So the live action.
I believe
I would
so.
assume
if
it would
that-
have
if
to
it
be
was
in 2016.
2016.
Yeah. I liked the live action Jungle Book. That was the first one, wasn't it? The first live action that they did,
I believe so.
I think. And then they had Lion King and Aladdin after that.
Yeah, and Jon Favreau did that.
I liked the Jungle Book one. I think I cried.
Did you?
I mean, is it surprising? It's got animals and stuff.
You're right.
It was either that. So listen, they did the live action Jungle Book, but then there was that other one that was just called like Mowgli or something like
Mowgli.
that. But they
Oh,
were
yeah.
similar.
Right. They came
You know,
out like
it was
around the
essentially
same
a
time.
live action Jungle Book, but
You're right. And they came
one
out
of them made me cry
one.
because the mom wolf like
Well, that was in 2018.
was like defending
Mowgli.
Mowgli. Was like
was on
defending,
Netflix,
and
though.
she was like,
And it was CGI.
"He is
Oh,
my
wow.
child," and I was like, "Oh my god, she loves it."
You ready for this cast for Mowgli?
Mowgli,
Whatever.
the voices.
You ready?
Yep.
Christian Bale, Kate
Mhm.
Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Is Idris Elba in this one?
I'm getting down to it. Hold on. We got Naomi Harris, Andy Serkis, Peter Mullen, Jack Rayner. Don't know who that is. Tom Hollander, Matthew Reese. Yeah, I don't see.
Okay. Then it might have been I'm pretty sure Idris Elba was the voice of
So-
Shere Khan in one of them.
So
maybe that was.
yeah. So in the Jungle Book,
Mhm.
we got Bill Murray,
Mhm.
Ben
I think
Kingsley,
I think he was Baloo.
Idris Elba.
Okay.
I
Maybe it was
can't.
that one.
I really like her, but I can't say her name. She was in Us.
Oh.
She was also in
Yeah.
Black Panther too, right? Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
We also got Scarlett Johansson.
She was the snake. She was Ka,
Yeah, you're right. And then Giancarlo Esposito, the
which
guy
I liked
who-
because Ka was always a male snake.
Oh, and then they made it
but
woman.
they-
Yeah. Esposito there. He's the guy from Breaking Bad. He's the bad
Mm-hmm.
guy. He's great voice. Also, Christopher Walken's in it too. Goddamn, so many people.
Now I don't remember which one made me cry.
Who was Christopher Walken? He was King Louis. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Hey, what you doing?
I'm the king of the swingers now. The
All right.
jungle VIP.
Number 4.
Yeah.
The Nice Guys
Aw.
didn't make the
Didn't
top 3.
quite do it.
So the top 3, in no particular order: The Angry Birds movie in its opening weekend, Neighbors 2 in its opening weekend, Captain America: Civil War in its 15th week.
God, that just sat up. All those movies kind of do that, though. I guess
Well, not the
kinda
Marvels,
chill up there.
because that opened with like 26 million this weekend, and it's like the lowest ever box office
I
opening.
didn't even know it was coming out this
See?
weekend.
Right,
I
but
didn't even know.
it's been everywhere. Everything has been marketed
I feel
about
like,
it. and
look,
it's like,
I'm not anti Marvel. I watch all the Marvel movies
Yeah.
and stuff. Like I've seen like
What about the shows?
haven't watched the shows.
No shows. Not
What
even
are
Loki.
they? I haven't
anything?
watched. We haven't watched Loki. Did not watch the witch one.
So if you didn't watch Loki season 1, then Ant-Man, the newest Ant-Man movie that was out, made absolutely no sense
Yeah,
to you.
that's why it was even crazier to me. I
Right,
was
yeah.
like, what are we doing?
And then other movies after that would make no sense to you as well. Like even
Yeah, we
Guardians
just
of the
didn't-
Galaxy 3 would have been a little out there.
I mean, I was
certain
fine
things.
with that one. I followed that one.
No, but there's
mostly,
certain
but-
things in that you would need to know from
But
what's
yeah,
going
we
on with
didn't. We
Loki.
haven't watched. We watched the Hawkeye show
Okay.
with
And
Haley
that-
Steinfeld.
And that was
Simon.
after that would have been
That was the
after Loki season 1.
Are you sure? I thought
Yeah.
that one was the first series that
Well,
came
so-
out of the Marvel stuff.
Maybe.
I thought
But
that's
I
why
do
we
know
watched it.
that went into Black Widow. So if you haven't seen that movie,
We haven't.
so you should
hadn't-
watch.
hadn't-
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Just not
Here's
watching
the
Marvel
thing. This is
stuff.
what I was gonna say. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I think Marvel's got something, and they've obviously proved that
I
they
think
can make a good movie, and people will pay and they'll see it. But I think at some point, it's like, okay, we've done this.
well,
like-
so it
And
Mar-
not necessarily this, because obviously there's different stories and but like, how long have we been doing this now? How many different storylines? Because how many different heroes and characters and stuff are there?
yeah. The problem is once the main people that you care about are gone,
You're like,
why are you showing back up, right? And they're trying to, and the same thing with comics, right? Why do you think there's so many different redone storylines, or they stop,
Or like branches where they
Right.
like
or hey, we're just gonna do the same story in a different way.
didn't
or
watch
whatever.
She-Hulk.
That honestly is worth watching.
I'm
You would like it.
sure
You would-
most
you
of
would
them
really
are.
like
I
She-Hulk.
just haven't.
Yeah, well,
I'm more about the Marvel movies than I have been about getting into the shows, because a movie you watch it and you're done.
well, I mean,
you know, like
the problem
the
that
shows you gotta
they
they take longer.
kind of. I mean, yeah, obviously
No, they do.
but they're not very long series. It's not like, oh, I got to watch 20
No,
episodes.
but what I mean is it's not something that I'm gonna finish in less than 3 hours.
Touche. But
Like the Marvel movies. I was gonna say 2 hours, but
yeah.
most of them
well,
go
so
over 2 hours now.
I like what Disney was doing with all their releases of Star Wars shows and the Marvel shows is it was a weekly thing. So it almost felt a little like nostalgic to me because well, I got to wait till Wednesday to
yeah,
watch
you couldn't
it.
sit. Well, like with the Mandalorians and stuff too, like those.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
So you could wait for all of it to come out and then binge it, but I'm not a binging type guy. So I like to say, all right, shit, Wednesday, the new episode of Loki's out. So we're watching that, you know? So you could do that with the shows, but obviously that's going to be 8 weeks for you, or you could just watch one episode a day and then you're done a show in a week.
Or watch a few episodes.
Or that, depending on if you
Work
like
from
it or
home.
not. Right, exactly. You know, the benefits. So I
I'm
don't know.
actually rewatching, or I have been. It's in the last season now, but I had been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
See, so as you're rewatching that, you could
I
have been watching
could have
something,
started
right?
something new, but
But
the
you're
way
right.
that my brain is set up and stuff, sometimes the rewatches are easier because I don't have to pay attention to them.
Right,
It's just
on.
background and it's
got
just enjoyment instead of having to focus on it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But it's one of those shows. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of those shows where like on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you will still see like clips of that show get shared.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it was. I've seen it over the years, but I don't know what it was this time. But some clip that popped up on my Instagram or something, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put that on.
Yeah, it would just.
I'm just gonna put it on, and it's just so funny. Like the couple, especially the Andy Samberg and Andre, I can't remember his last name, but the guy who plays the captain on the show,
Captain
they
Holt.
are gold. Like
Yes.
the two of them are gold in that show.
When they find their, because obviously just like Parks and Rec, you got to find your footing.
or The Office or anything. Like you gotta
it
get
takes
into
it takes a season or two, but once
Mhm.
they did figure out they had gold with Captain Holt
That is-
being Captain Holt. It's
And
great.
He's so good at it. Like just the dry delivery. and
When
stuff,
he
but
finally like loses it one time, It's hilarious.
So funny. Or even the half loses it where like the words he's saying are really mean, but he's still delivering them like this. Or there was one just recently, he was cussing someone out, but he was still just like looking just like this, like he was talking like very casually, and just the bleeps just kept happening, and it was just so funny because it's just like
Yeah, I honestly haven't
so perfect, that dryness.
I haven't finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So I didn't finish it until probably earlier this year. But because like I had seen the other seasons, but we had kind of like fallen off, as you do when shows have a lot of seasons and like things come up and you start other shows. We had fallen off of it, and we had gotten rid of satellite or DirecTV or any of that stuff. So you would have to have that whatever app that it was on and stuff. So I did go and I did watch the last season or whatever, like earlier in the year. And if I remember correctly, like the way that it ends. Okay. I'm in the last season now, so I'll be reminded soon. But
gotcha. Yeah, no, I remember when they were going back and forth from like Fox and NBC, and like it was switching. I just stopped there.
Now but it's on. I don't know if it's on anything else, but it's on Peacock. I know that.
Okay, because last time I watched it was on Hulu. So, which for anybody out there,
I think that's where I finished it.
Yeah,
Hulu.
For anybody out there who follows whatever, there's now going to be a Hulu Disney Plus app. So it's going to be one app, but that's only if you have the Disney Hulu bundle. So
I just don't like that they keep changing it.
That's the problem.
Like the HBO Max thing. Like I had HBO Max and now it's just Max, and you had to get a whole different app for it. You couldn't have just changed the fucking name of it.
Right. And that's
why do I have to download a whole new app?
Well, that's because they bought out Warner Brothers, and then they went, oh, hey, look, we have the Discovery Plus app, so we're going to put it together with Max, and everything will be under one thing. Okay, cool. Just keep it the same thing. Because it was HBO, then it was HBO To Go, then it was HBO Go, then it was HBO Max, and now it's just fucking Max.
I also had to like re-sign up for one of this. I don't remember if it was Hulu or Disney. Maybe it was because of that. Maybe I had to
Probably.
But like I went to watch something on Disney Plus, and I had to like subscribe because I was like, why? It was like it didn't re-up or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, it's just the whole streaming
so
wars.
Many out there now.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Streaming was great when it first started because it was like, I'm cutting the cord. I don't want to have to buy this bundle to buy that bundle, and I'm paying all this money.
Still is good, but like now there's a billion of them, so it's like.
And that's the problem. Everybody went and saw, oh my God, Netflix is making so much money. Let's do that. And then they took all the good content that Netflix had, and you know what? To be fair to Netflix, they saw it coming. So they made their own content,
which has done well. Like I've liked a lot of their original stuff. I've liked a lot of the original Amazon shows, the original Hulu things. I think that that's good.
Sure.
That they're not just picking up stuff and streaming. I think that it's a good thing that they're also making their own content.
Right. But
most of them are.
The problem is
the apps.
The other stuff that I want to watch. Well, now I gotta have another subscription to fucking Paramount Plus or Peacock or. HBO Max, it's Max, or all this stuff.
I hadn't watched The Office, and like except for like if we were like out of town somewhere and that was what was on the TV, like a random rerun. I hadn't watched The Office in like years because I refused to get another app just to watch The Office. And then I got Peacock anyways because of something else. So then I watched The Office, but I stopped after Steve Carell left because I was like,
there's a couple good episodes with Idris Elba being in there.
But he's in it when Steve's still on it.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was there right after he left.
No, he's one of the reasons.
Oh, that's right. He leaves, and then
he leaves to start his own company, then comes back, and he just is gone again. But and I do still agree that there are some positive things still on the show, but like especially once Andy takes over The Office, it's just so infuriating.
Well, they're trying to do the same thing without having the character of Michael being a bumbling idiot there.
But Andy's like, instead of being the bumbling, unaware idiot that Michael was, Andy is just
the same, but
a fucking idiot.
Like it's not good. Whatever. Anyways,
sorry, we've been on so many. This is why Steve and I can't do these by ourselves because
we need
just
people
keep
to put us
on
the line. So speaking of the line, top 3 that week, we had the Angry Birds movie, we had Neighbors 2, and then Captain America: Civil War.
I know it was in its 15th week, but I still feel like
that was
the like
Well, that was the culmination of a lot of
lot of
stuff,
things,
and
yeah.
I believe that was the first movie that had Black Panther in it.
I also think a
So-
lot of people forget that that was a Captain America movie and not an Avengers movie because it was so much
Yeah.
in it.
Right. It was good.
It was good. I'm gonna say I never even saw Angry Birds. I'm sure that it was popular, but I never saw it.
No.
I'm gonna say wait, what was the other one?
Neighbors 2.
Right, 2. The second
Which was
one.
funny.
Yeah, enjoyable. Not as good as the first one, but
Hooah!
still enough
Yeah.
in there. The first one was really funny. I'm gonna say Captain America, Neighbors 2, Angry Birds. I'm gonna say it in the opposite of how you read it to me.
Cool. So it is number 1, the Angry Birds movie.
I hate that so much.
Number 2,
honestly.
Neighbors 2. And
I hate
number
it.
3, Captain America.
I mean, Neighbors 2 is where I put it,
yeah,
but I hate everything else about that.
me too. But the popularity of Angry Birds, let's be real, is
But
still
the popularity of Angry Birds had been over by then. Come on,
not really.
I was
this
not-
is 2016. Think
Yeah.
about when you go to Top Golf, you can play an Angry Birds game there.
didn't even know
So-
that though.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, but it's still a thing.
I remember having the app on my phone. Like I remember playing it, but
So I had
I feel like that
another.
was so long ago.
So I had another game that was the same thing before Angry Birds, but it wasn't from the perspective of you're pulling it back and shooting to it. It's you're from the side, and it was like a medieval type game where you had like a trebuchet, and you had to hit a button. Well, again, it was not a button, fucking iPhone at this point. You hit the screen, and it shot, and then you hit the screen again to launch it from whatever point it was swinging up.
So you had to like do both sides
Right,
of it.
and then it would hit whatever you're trying to kill. So I think it was like protect the king or something because you had to kill everything but the king. So it was the same idea. And then Angry Birds got popular, and I was like, "But it's the same."
I mean,
thing.
I will say, I enjoyed,
It was a quick,
Angry Birds.
easy. I'm
but
sitting in the doctor's office waiting
and then but I would also get really,
into it.
Mm-hmm. especially if a level took me a while to like
Oh, I
get,
gotcha.
and I would get very frustrated.
I get you. The one thing I never got into that everybody seemed to be into was Words with Friends.
I did do that.
yeah,
I did that for a little bit.
No, I remember my buddy David would always like message, "Oh, dude, you got to get on with me and let's play." I'm like, "I'm good."
I did the trivia with friends or whatever too because I like stuff like that. I'm big into trivia, so that
Sure.
I actually like that more. But
Okay, I've never
I think
done
it was
trivia.
called trivia with friends,
Probably something similar.
something
so.
along those lines.
Budget time. What do we think it costs to make The Nice Guys? Because that's the movie we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
I
Nice
know.
Guys.
In case you forgot, because
Right.
we've been forgetting anything.
What's up?
Cost to make it. Budget. I'm gonna say $40 million.
$40 million.
I know there wasn't like a lot. It's not like they were doing a lot of CGI and stuff either. But had some names.
Right.
Had some names.
It did.
There were some action type of things that would have taken more like to do.
Also, being set in the 70s, you can't just shoot.
No,
Anyway.
you gotta you have to acquire those older style things, those older style vehicles, older style houses, furniture, clothing.
Also, a lot of CGI changing of things,
like,
right? So wide shots where you're seeing the city.
Where you may not even notice that it's CGI, but
Exactly.
like, yep.
They
So
did a
I'm gonna
lot
say
of that.
I'm gonna say 40.
They did a lot of that in Wolf of Wall Street, where they just took a shot
good
of
one,
something,
too.
and it's like, holy shit, that's all CG.
That's a
Yeah,
good
obviously,
one.
because it's in the 80s. So.
I missed that one too. I think you guys did that. one.
Me and Randy did that for an extra real episode.
Oh, was it?
No, a How Have You Not Seen This episode. So that
I'm
was
not going anywhere.
that was fun. I guessed 60 million, so we're
Okay.
right. We're right there. The actual budget, cut that right in the middle, is 50 million.
Before you said it, I almost said, well, then maybe we'll get a happy medium. And
No,
sure
look at
enough,
that.
We did. Look at us.
So box office, then, what do we think it made?
So that one's tricky because while I think it's a great movie, it was number 4. It didn't pop that, but it was against Captain America.
It was.
And Neighbors 2 was also a debut. Angry Birds was also apparently a big deal that I wasn't aware of. I'm going to say, oh God, I don't want it to lose money, but it's not up to me. It's whatever really happened. I'm going to say Like 110.
Weird. I guessed 120. Weird.
Is it 115?
No.
Oh.
Its opening weekend, it made $11.2 million. Overall, it made 62.8.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah, I think this is why
it's unfortunate, but
I think that's the nail in the coffin for this type of movie is people don't want to see this anymore. They don't want the buddy cop,
this kind of
whatever thing. They don't want the we've seen it to death kind of thing. But this movie's great.
Yeah.
Right? So the people that do watch it are like, oh, fuck, this is good. I want a sequel or I want more from
liked it. Yeah.
this universe, but you're not going to get it because nobody went and supported it.
I do feel like it is different than some of the other buddy cop movies, though, because
Yeah, definitely agree.
more comedy, I think, vibe. It's different comedy. It's not like the sarcastic, witty comedy. It's goofy comedy still.
Yeah, again, going through the Lethal Weapon series like we have, I've been watching some buddy cop movies, and I don't know, Lethal Weapon is definitely a better movie, but it's a different movie, right? Like the whole Lethal Weapon series is still buddy cop. We're laughing, cracking jokes. This one, they're not friends. They're not working.
They're not even partners.
Right.
They're just like
this is a guy that got hired
together
to tell this guy to stay away from this girl. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second.
Oh my God, you just reminded me. I still need to figure out what the fuck.
Yeah, good luck. Because you're going to try to figure this out next. The Rotten Tomatoes score, the Roddy T's, the Tomatometer. Out of 100% critics and audience, what do we think?
Oh, I hate this because even though I know it's a good movie, I don't like that it wasn't like, it didn't make a lot, which doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't.
Because the ratings aren't related. I'm going to say 70, 75.
70, 75.
Yeah, because even though it didn't make a lot of money, I think that if you do watch it, you would have the same reaction as us where you would like it.
Okay.
But I don't want to like upsell either.
I got you.
So I feel like that's safe.
So I guessed 85 and 80. I feel like this movie critically, there's nothing wrong with it other than it's the subject matter that it is about.
I honestly hope that I'm wrong and that they're both higher. Like, I'm just trying to be.
So I'm going to do audience first.
Okay.
79.
Okay.
Not bad.
That's solid.
Critics?
That's good.
91.
Wow.
That's high.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That is really high.
Okay, critically looking at this movie, you wouldn't think the Rotten Tomatoes critics would put this at a 91.
As high, yeah.
Maybe a 75. Like I said, 85, I thought I was being generous.
I said 70s because I thought, nothing outwardly, like nothing terrible about this movie.
Right. Normally, a rated R type movie like this isn't getting a high rating for whatever reason.
Did it have a lot of ratings?
Yeah.
Did it? I always look at that now.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. Older movies, depending on what it is, don't have a lot. Right now, if it's a huge movie like, I don't know, fucking Titanic or Alien or
do you think that's
Dances
because
with
people
Wolves.
just aren't going back and doing that now if they're watching,
right?
or
Because
they're not watching?
You got to
older
think
movies as
Rotten
much?
Tomatoes started whenever the fuck it started, and so
in the days of internet.
that's what I'm saying. So like, you're not going to have a lot of people going back to a movie that say nobody really cared about to be like, oh yeah, let's do a review of that. So certain movies will have obviously more reviews, and then you have more of an aggregate to make that number. Where new movies come out and it's like, well, that everybody has to put on Rotten Tomatoes. And, it's a certified fresh, and we got to see it. And then you see it, and you're like, this thing fucking sucks.
I try not to get offended when I look up some of the older movies that I enjoy. Sometimes I just look up to see like what their ratings would be. And I try not to get offended because there have been multiple movies where like I've loved from like, the 80s or early 90s or whatever, and they don't have good ratings.
Right.
And I'm like, how? And I try not to, let that affect me. But I feel like when you're invested in something or when it's something that you really like, it does bother you a little bit if no one else likes it. But,
IMDb, 7.3.
Lower, though.
Right.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Speaking of interesting, who was your favorite character in this movie?
Probably his daughter.
Not Richard Nixon?
No.
Okay.
Probably his daughter.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. Yeah, my favorite character was his daughter because obviously she has to be more mature for her age because of her father.
You know, the mom not being there and him being a mess.
Right. She's taking care of him. I like the scene where he's trying to put the gun holster on and she just instinctually
just goes to help.
Yeah. Or, hey, hang this up, and she just tosses it on the ground. She doesn't even hang the phone up. It's hilarious. But also, that's the type of person she is because of who her father is.
Well, and even towards her friend, when her friend is like on the phone and she's like, hang up the phone.
Right.
Like, what, like.
It's great. And then there's the scene where, what does she say? Something about, and so on, or whatever. And he said, no, it's just this. Don't say and so on. And then she's talking to the actress, the porn star, or whatever you want to say. And she says, and so on. She's like, no, just that, right? Or movies and stuff, I think she says. And she's like, no, don't say and stuff. Just movie, yeah. And I was like, that's realistic, you know what I mean? Because that's your dad, and you're like, fuck you, I ain't taking your, don't tell me what to do. But then she uses it, yeah.
And I actually, that was one of the scenes I was going to bring up is when she's like laying on that couch talking to the girl at the party, trying to help. And so she's just like, so yeah, I'm such and such's sister. Like, have you seen her? And she's just very like not bothered at all by anything going on around her. I will say, like, just because of my own things with kids and movies, was so frustrated that she hid in the car because like she never would have been kidnapped and all that stuff had she not snuck to that party. But also they may not have gotten information had she not
That's the thing,
so
right? Like she's trying to be there the whole time because she knows, number one, she's curious, but also
she knows her dad's a mess.
You're right. So she's there to help her dad. And if she wasn't there,
and he was a mess,
right? If she wasn't there, I don't think they solved this. Right? So for the most part, she's helping more than even Russell Crowe's character is. And we haven't really talked about him at all. He's a great character too, right? He just wants to live in that apartment upstairs of whatever, was that a strip club?
Yeah, he just wants some kind of club.
Whatever. And, just have a nice life and do people's business, whatever. Even he says,
like, I'm holding that for someone.
That's
and is blue the rest of the, like, that's gonna stain, don't open. And it did, because he's blue the rest of the time.
His name is credited as Blueface in the movie. What's really cool is the way he's talking to the guy, like, look, I know how these things work. This is, a business, whatever, you do what you got. But now it's personal, right? Like, you didn't have to throw my fish at me, right? Or he's like, I'm going to make you eat this fish. No, you're not. Like, we don't need to do this.
This is ridiculous. Let's be professional.
I like that. It's such a different take of a scene like that.
It's almost like because he's the old school.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, why do we need to do all this? You're getting what you wanted. Like, why do you need to take it to a personal level?
Right. And then you have Ryan Gosling being a fucking mess, but also being a mess lets him solve things, right? Like him literally falling down a mountain to get a clue.
Like accidentally finding out information.
But also he did it so smoothly. Like, I'm an actor too. Shoot me. And she just shoots him and he just falls over. Like
he really committed. He really committed to that role.
He's like, you were wet? Why were you wet?
And then she just like
right, okay.
Just like walks away. Okay.
That's how that would be at a type of party. But no, when he's just like, well, I slipped. Why? Because I was wet. Why were you wet? Well, I had to ask the mermaids, right?
Which sounds like it made
I was swimming.
Which sounds made up. Right. Like, if you were to ask anybody else that question, they said, you'd be like, are you fucking stoned? Like, are you on something? I had to ask the mermaid, like, just...
It's hilarious.
And so adamant about it, too. Like, well, I mean, what did you want me to... As though it was like, of course I'm wet.
Right. I had to
How else would I have done this?
Hilarious.
Not... Oh, my God.
And the funny thing, too, is how he's drinking literally through the whole movie. And I thought that
steadily
when in the scene when they're at that party and Russell Crowe is literally saying no to all these drinks because they know that he's there. Like, they know that they're looking for something. Because even the bartender's like, hey, man, have another drink. Don't bother the lady, whatever. I thought they were not poisoning him, but drugging him because he got drunk fucking fast.
It did feel that way. But
he didn't even feel drunk. He felt drugged the way he was stumbling on his words. So I thought that's what was happening. And then later in the movie, obviously, the guy's like, hey, you want a drink? And he's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, it's free. And he goes. Yeah. And then the next scene, he's
belligerent again.
But he's not. He was faking it.
This time,
Right.
yeah.
Because he learned his lesson. My favorite, like I said, was the daughter. Favorite scene then? I kind of said it was the mermaid thing. That to me
I
was
really
pretty good.
liked that. And I know it didn't include my favorite character, but
Sure.
I think she was my favorite character overall as a person in this movie, but I think he had the best scenes. He had a lot of the best scenes.
Oh,
he
for
just
sure.
was so good at his like.
Well, even when he's getting beat up by Russell Crowe in the beginning, and he's just like, "Yeah, I learned my lesson," and then he goes to grab the gun, and then he's like, "Okay, sorry,
I didn't.
yeah,
Like, I really
right, sorry."
Yeah.
Or yeah, now I learned it. It's fine. I kind
I
of like,
also love later when he's like, "Where's your ankle gun?"
dude.
You said-
Okay, yeah, that was. I laughed out loud
Oh
at that
my god!
because
He's like, "What are you talking about? You showed it to me. You had an ankle gun."
Did you dream this? I guess I did.
He's like, maybe
yeah,
I didn't. Maybe I don't remember.
Hilarious.
Maybe that's not real.
And then it was funny because I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, cars don't drive themselves. And then there's a giant bumblebee in the back seat. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, he's definitely dreaming while he's
Not
driving.
real.
And then it happens. And then, I mean, but again, for him being so fucked up, what happens?
Yeah. Yep.
It's not money.
He even
right.
says he's like, you need to drive. Like, he said to him in the other time they're in the car.
Yeah.
He was like, and he's like, no, like, you're fine.
Well, what's funny, if you look at it through the whole movie, his daughter is driving his car. He's not driving because he's always fucked up, right? So now he's driving.
And he's like, oh,
right, and he falls asleep.
Yeah.
Then, because of that, they find the clue. Well, not a clue, but they realize, hey, we've been had. Because also, he's a fucking idiot telling the girl, hey, look, we found this girl. She's at our house here. We're doing this. Okay. Well, I need you to take this money, and then it's not money.
Oh my god! And then even when he goes to pick up the money, he's like, he wanted to come.
Right.
I don't know. Like
Like,
I don't know why he's
I
here.
saw the whole thing. I'm like, obviously, this is not right.
Just even the way she acted on the phone, like, oh,
Right.
yeah,
She needs
yeah.
$10,000.
Mhm.
I like the story that Russell Crowe told him in that moment when they're waiting at the thing about, things sometimes, maybe they're both telling the truth. And he tells him that story, and he's like, you could have just said that. I didn't need that whole...
Didn't need the whole thing.
Right.
Just get to the point.
But then, when he's in the pool, almost dead, he fucking sees Richard Nixon, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm here for it. And I want to also say one thing. Keith David is one of my favorite actors of all time. I'm not saying he's wasted in this movie, but it's almost like he's having a cameo appearance in here because he's playing not the main henchman. He's just a lower tier henchman. He has a great fight scene in this movie. Gets his ass kicked, but it's fine and it works. And then he's like, "Don't worry, I'm not coming back. Where are you going? I'm going to Chicago. It's fine. You'll never see me."
I'm done.
And then he's back. And then gets thrown off a building.
It's got a lot. It also, which I thought this before, but then it reminded me when Carrick, my roommate,
My roommate.
Yeah.
My roomie.
came into the living room when I was watching the movie, and at first he said, "Is this the one that's based off of the Tate?"
I mean, it's not, though.
It's not, but he was thinking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, with
And
Josh Hartnett, right?
Isn't that
Josh?
Leo and Brad. It's Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. What, I'm
But
thinking
I was
of,
like, but I
Dahlia
said
or
to him,
whatever.
I said, what's funny is even though they are not cops in that movie, he's an actor and he's like a stunt double. It still, if you go back, if you think about the attributes of both of those movies, like in that time period, the way it was filmed, them not being cops, but them having that buddy banter relationship. And them getting in fucked up situations, they have very similar vibes, those two movies.
Yeah, the movie I was talking about, like I just said, I hadn't even thought of for a while, the Black Dahlia murder. Or is it just Black Dahlia? The Black Dahlia with Josh Hartnett. I didn't realize that's another movie that Scarlett Johansson is in. She was fucking everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Eckhart was in that too.
Mhm.
Hilary Swank, Mia Kirshner. A lot of people. It was a good movie, but it got terrible reviews.
What was the movie? I've seen it a few times, but it's been probably 10 years since I've seen it or more. It was Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford. and it was meant to be a
Lucky
comedy.
number 11? No.
No, but they
no.
were. I thought it was something Hollywood.
What's
Hollywood Cops?
Doc Hollywood? What's up, Hollywood? I know what you're talking about.
But they were cops.
Yeah,
they
I'll
were
find it,
partners.
I know exactly. I can see the
and
cover.
one of the things I can remember about the movie that's a theme throughout the whole movie is Harrison Ford trying to be also a realtor on the side.
It makes me think of what's his face working at Bed Bath & Beyond from the other guys.
When he's Michael Keaton. When
Hollywood Homicide.
Hollywood. I knew it was Hollywood something. Hollywood Homicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that movie a lot when it first came out. I don't remember why. I don't know if it was one of those movies where once it came out and it was just on TV a lot. But I remember seeing it so many times.
Yeah.
But now I haven't seen it in like half my life.
Look, I'm a Josh Hartnett guy. I am so happy he's back in Hollywood. Like when he showed up in that Black Mirror episode, I don't know if you've seen it with Aaron Paul. What a fucking episode.
I watched because that was the brand new season.
Yeah.
With because it also had oh my God.
So I watched the first 3 episodes and then stopped after the Aaron Paul one because I was like, nope, I'm good. I can't even remember the first 2 episodes because that one overshadows.
Well, the first episode is the one where like the show is being made about her life, and then the show is being made.
Oh
about
yeah,
her,
from
watching that.
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, but oh my God, why can I not remember her fucking name?
Salma Hayek was.
Salma Hayek was in it, but I cannot remember her.
Like
name.
her real name?
Yes.
I don't know her real name, but I'm about
blanking,
to find.
and I know it. And Annie Murphy.
That is it. Yeah,
Annie Murphy.
Like Jesus, David.
Oh my God, David. I'm sorry I didn't respond to like one text, David.
Anytime I see anybody say something, anything like her, I'm like, okay, I need to watch Schitt's Creek again.
That's another one that's just so good.
But I can't get over the mother.
You weren't answering your phone?
My baby. The scene where she's like selling the wine in the, like it's an infomercial that they're.
Oh, and she has to she keeps messing up.
But she's not, but she is.
But she is, yeah.
I heard that was all off the cuff by her.
It does not surprise me. I think...
Amazing.
I know that she annoyed a lot of people in that show.
Yeah.
And while, like, David is my favorite character in the show, but I think if you really think about what it took to be all those characters, she's the best actor in that show.
Yes.
Like she made up her own. That's not a real dialect from anywhere.
No
one talks like that.
Right.
Like
I don't even know what that is.
She had to make it up.
Yeah.
Like that's not real. And just oh my God, she also was one of the only ones that even at the end of the show, even though she did have character growth, at the end of the show she was still like her. Like
and
she was
that's
the
another
same
reason
person.
why I kind of hate it, but also I understand. Like everybody's around her growing up and realizing. Even Eugene Levy, I thought, was the one to go through the biggest like character arc, and I feel like the show is about him. Right? It turns into David and marrying and all this stuff. And
well, I think
not being a shitty person anymore. But I think Johnny Rose is the guy with the biggest character arc because he goes from this super successful guy to then now having nothing and having to build himself back up, but realizing his family matters more than the money.
The only reason I didn't consider him having the biggest character growth is because I think he was that person before too.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Because he did build that business up before.
Yeah.
And while he did lose all his money in the flashbacks, it did show him wanting to be family oriented.
True.
It's just the money had changed all of them.
Very true. Yeah.
So that's why I think like arguably biggest change probably Alexis. Like you know, not depending on anyone, making decisions for her own career, you know, getting her degree, all that stuff. David's, I don't think he was a different person. I think he needed to find people that accepted him
as he was.
Yeah. And so I think that's what I liked about the show is they all had a different kind of story, a different kind of growth.
And this is going to sound really weird.
And acting that way for that period of time is probably like I can't watch her or him and not
see that
that's who they are.
Yeah, watching Home Alone now, it's just imagine her being the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Beetlejuice the other day.
Yeah,
It's the
same.
same thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she's eccentric in Beetlejuice, but
She
she's
is
not like
that eccentric, which you could kind of say. Now, the one thing I was going to say is growing up in Canada and watching CBC, which is where Schitt's Creek was
Started,
originally
yep.
on. Well, I think it was still, obviously it was on that. The thing that I notice a lot about Canadian television shows is they all have like heart to them, like a hometown feeling, but also like there's a good message in every episode.
good.
Or there's, so I tend to watch a lot of those shows still because they just feel warm, if that makes sense.
Did you ever finish it?
Yeah.
I know you were
I did,
for a
yeah.
while you were putting it off because you were like, I know when it's over, it's over. and
Right.
I don't
I
wanna-
was.
But you also put off watching it, and I remember
Yeah.
I kept hounding you to get into it.
I got it. I got finished it, and I was like, good. Good for them.
And I also like that they didn't cave to everybody. Like after they won all those awards, and everybody was like, no, you need to.
Nope.
They were like,
go
no.
on top. Do the
We had
Seinfeld.
already going into the season. We had already decided it was our last season, and we wrapped up everything the way we wanted to. We don't need to. We don't need to go back into it and
Again,
mess it all up.
Just like Seinfeld, going on top. Now, segueing from Seinfeld, there's an episode of Seinfeld I want you to watch. And I know you say you're not a Seinfeld person, you're never going to be, or you can't even get into it.
You know what? Maybe as an adult, I would like Seinfeld more.
Well, there's one episode
Honestly,
that
but-
I want you to watch, and it's not because Monica from Friends is in it, but
Oh,
it's
Courtney Cox
because
is in it.
Courtney Cox is in it.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite episodes. It's called The Wife. And
Okay.
literally the plot is Jerry, and it's funny how Seinfeld episodes work because he's just with women. Like every episode, he's got a new girlfriend.
He's
But,
dating somebody. That's
but-
like his whole storyline in the show.
but it's always, and I always felt like every episode of Seinfeld never is like, hey, this is a day from now or next weekend. It's just
You don't
picking
know.
up at
It's
a
just
point in
there.
time,
Yeah.
right? So he's already with Courtney Cox, and they go to get pick up his dry cleaning. Oh no, sorry. He finds a locket in his jacket that he hasn't put on in a while, and he's like, oh shit, this must be maybe from the dry cleaners because the last time I had it was from the dry cleaner. So they take it back, and the guy's so happy that he's like, I'm going to give you and your family 25% off all your dry cleaning for life. And she goes, awesome, I get it too because I'm his wife. I'm going to leave it at that. Watch the
Which
episode.
is also so Monica too, because like
And this is like right before or right at the time she was just starting Friends.
because there was even an episode. I mean, it was in one of the later seasons, mid seasons. But there's an episode. No, because Rachel's pregnant. But she goes with Phoebe to the dry cleaners, and she's like, "Oh, you don't have to come inside with me." And she's like, "Are you kidding? This is where they get stains out." And
Right.
she's just in there,
see.
like asking the dry cleaner, like, "How would you get this out?" Like
That's
she's
funny.
and Phoebe's like, "I don't know where my friend went," and she just like
That's funny.
leaves her there.
That's funny.
Oh,
No,
show.
that would be. It's all on Netflix now, right? I think
Seinfeld is,
Yeah.
yep.
Find that episode, The Wife. I think it's like season 5 or something like that. There's a lot of, and this is why I love Seinfeld. There's like 10 different storylines going on with all the different characters that intertwine each other and then make sense at the end.
At the end of that
Yeah.
of this episode,
Right.
Who's your favorite
Well,
character on Seinfeld? Just out of curiosity.
George,
Really?
because he's fucking insane.
God, he's my least favorite character. He's one of the reasons I don't like the show.
But-
Because he's just so, oh God, everything's wrong and my life sucks.
But that's
and
the whole thing is
blah.
that you're just seeing that aspect of George. If you watch most of the episodes, you'll realize that he's the biggest piece of shit on the show,
Oh, he is.
but he does it in such a way that you're like, that's a genius. Like one episode, so he works for the New York Yankees,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
He figures out that if he doesn't move his car,
Oh yeah. Yes.
they
Yep.
think that he's burning the midnight oil or
Mhm.
coming in early because there's 2 different managers that leave at different times. So he ends up going on vacation somewhere else and leaves his car.
Mhm.
And a bunch of like seagulls and shit on it, and there's a bunch of like stuff that he's like, Jerry, I need you to get it off. Well, so they go take it for a car wash, and Kramer's driving, he fucking crashes it. So then they just bring it back crashed.
My second least favorite character in the show.
I love Kramer, I don't care. and then his bosses think there's something happened to George and they can't find him, and so now they're like searching for him,
Mhm.
thinking he died or something. It's hilarious.
And he's just on vacation.
right because he's a piece of shit.
I just when I've watched, and maybe it'll be different now, but I've talked about it even on this show where that kind of humor is not my
I get what
like
you're
something
saying.
else disastrous happened, like that bothers me, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like Kramer's whole existence is the kind of thing that gives me anxiety. Like just
'Cause
him
he's so
messing
manic.
things up
Yeah.
and him like getting into these situations and then the other side of anxiety, which is George,
Yeah.
who's anxious and upset about everything. So I feel like when I'm watching that show, I'm just sandwiched in between the two different sides of anxiety and depression.
But also that
But then there's Elaine who does entertain me and like
she does even crazier shit than George.
but she's not
She's always happy about it.
Yeah. And
But
she's
yet-
just like whatever. Like
But she's like the worst person on the show too.
I
which is
know, but
hilarious.
she's just like, whatever, and moves on.
Yeah, there's one episode.
Even the back and forth with her and Jerry, like that they date but they don't date, and it's fine, and they just like move on, and it's just whatever.
I kind of like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
like
yeah.
they just, it is what it is now.
And then there's episodes where things might happen or things kind of
And they don't
it's- yeah,
actually
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're just
It's-
implied or whatever.
Watch it. I'm telling you because you haven't.
You
if
just
you're-
told me to stop rewatching shows.
But you haven't watched.
I mean, I haven't
Seinfeld.
watched all of Seinfeld, but I've seen Seinfeld.
Sure. So if you're gonna start it, don't watch the
So
first
that
season.
doesn't count. Oh, I don't watch the first season.
It's
I don't
gonna.
need
No, you don't need it. There's nothing in it that makes it whatever, and it's just gonna make you go. I don't fucking want to watch this. Watch season 2, episode 1, and go.
Do you know what my favorite Jerry Seinfeld reference is?
Is it from a stand-up?
No, it's
oh.
from New Girl when Winston is doing his Seinfeld impression, and that's the most I've laughed at.
What's the deal
So-
with these people?
No, but that's how he does the voice. He's, what you got? Orange juice? You got apple juice? Why don't they have banana juice?
It's funny though. People
And then
will
Nick just goes, I never thought of that. And it's just like,
people will make fun of Jerry Seinfeld's jokes, but when you actually listen to his stand-up, it's genius.
it's not that it's not that the stuff that he says doesn't have.
it's all in real world stuff.
Yeah. Also, Curb Your Enthusiasm was another one where, like, I watched.
But you couldn't get into it.
I liked it more than Seinfeld.
Really?
But it was another one where it was just because he is that.
He's George.
Oh my God. And all the. Yes.
Well, that's the
But I
character, yeah.
liked.
Larry David.
No.
That's his name.
Julie Bowen. Is that who
Oh,
plays his
Julie
wife?
Bowen. Yeah.
I liked her in
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But I liked her in Modern Family and stuff too.
Right.
So.
But no, anyways, Larry David is George in Seinfeld.
Yeah, because he wrote it based
Right.
off of him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And then when you think about it and you look at each other, you're like, well, he's just a short, fat Larry David.
Yeah.
Bald, yeah. Anyways, any what the fuck moments for you in The Nice Guys?
God, what show are we?
Movie?
What movie?
There's a
Yeah.
movie.
This is Walter, Josh, anybody else that comes on this show. You cannot leave us alone with
Sure.
this.
To our own devices. We'll just talk
God.
about Seinfeld and Friends. It's fine.
Okay.
Could have brought Home Improvement into it, but I'm not going to. I can with this movie. You want me to?
Yeah, please do.
Sure. So at the end of the movie, there is a marquee with Tim Allen playing at the Comedy Store.
Didn't even. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
didn't.
and you want to know why? Because that's realistic. Because he
Oh,
he
yeah.
actually started as a stand-up comedian as a dare from one of his friends in Michigan to say, "Hey, you should do this because you would be funny." And he's like, "Okay, sure." Went up and did it, and then at this point in time, he would just be trying to make it in L.A. So
At
that's
this
why.
ti- yeah, at this
and
time
he was
frame.
a regular at the Comedy Store. So it's kind of a cool.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Tim Allen is my dad. Like there's not. I mean, not Tim Allen, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah, yeah.
who
Tim
I have
Taylor.
watched Tim Allen be is my dad, and I can't disconnect the two. I've tried,
Yeah, I get
and
it.
I can't. So like when I watch him in things, I'm like, oh, that's my dad.
There's my dad. Yeah. And you know what? Not to sound morbid or anything. Well, you can watch that forever, right? So if anything ever.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you
Yeah.
know,
So
still
in
a
20
connection
20
there.
years in the future, if you want to watch the Santa Claus or Home Improvement or whatever, you could be like,
I bet though, Home Improvement would bother me now as an
because
adult.
it's sexist towards women.
Yeah,
It's
there's
not as bad as you remember. it being.
No, because I even like. I think I've told you this before. Like I've gone back and rewatched Fresh Prince before,
That's a
and
little bad.
and a lot of that's pretty bad. Like women specifically, just a lot of like fat jokes, ugly jokes, like stuff like that. Which
Yeah.
I know people think that. I mean, people.
Society changes.
It
Things
does
change.
but like, oh my
and
god,
when you
just
watch something
watching
in
it is
a
one of those,
time
like,
capsule is a little bad. Now, I will say this about Home Improvement. The reason why I think it holds up is because Jill does not let Tim get away with
No, she doesn't, and that
his
is
shit.
one thing I always she like. he may be the man of the house, but she ran that fucking house.
Exactly.
Like, she did
So
run that house.
anything that he would say that was sexist on
As
Tool,
the only woman, too,
Right.
pretty much in the show, almost.
no,
Like,
Heidi was there.
well,
you had,
but she was, you know.
But that was the
like,
point. She was arm candy, but then she ended up saying stuff to Tim, or she would have her own stuff. So anything that Tim would say that was derogatory towards women on Tool Time, he would come home and Jill would say, fuck you.
What are you
right?
doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt like there's still a good a way of watching that, even from the 90s, to see a time capsule show that's still not going to be like, oh, this is bad.
I watched a little bit of Last Man Standing. And
I thought that's more sexist
it
towards
was
women than Home Improvement.
essentially the same show with daughters instead of sons.
Yes.
He was essentially the same person, except that navigating differently because they were daughters instead of sons.
Which is fine. If it worked
which
for
was
that.
fine.
Right.
And there were things that I found entertaining about it, and I still found him entertaining at playing that role, but it was also one of those things where it felt like and I know it happens, I don't like when they change actors.
Oh yeah, and they
mid-show.
changed the main daughter,
The
right?
one daughter, they changed her, and it throws you off. It shouldn't, because they're just actors playing a role. But like when you get used to it,
Yeah,
it can throw you off.
You're in that, right? So then it's all of a sudden like, oh, it's somebody different.
Especially when it's multiple seasons. If it's multiple seasons in, you're like, wait a second.
Right, exactly.
I
Now,
like that shows don't really do that now. They just find a way for that person to not be,
Right,
if
well,
it's
I
a
mean-
main person, like they just find a way for them to not
I mean,
be
look
there.
what they did with Black Panther, right? I mean,
He's
you gotta.
you just rewrite that
exactly.
shit. Like they couldn't have. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they could have, but they
no,
didn't.
But they couldn't have.
Well, okay, they could have tried to, and it wouldn't.
Yeah,
nobody
they
would
could have tried to, but
Anybody,
I think even they knew that would have been
Well, okay,
a
so
mistake.
here's a big one. So the show Spartacus that was on Stars.
okay.
There was was it one or two seasons? One full season or two seasons with the main guy who was Spartacus. Well, filming, he got diagnosed with cancer.
Mm.
Okay. And I can't remember if it was brain or something like, hey, this is not good.
It's not going to be good. Yep.
So they ended up doing a prequel series while he was trying to recover from cancer. So they continued doing it, and they made a prequel series before Spartacus was there. So they did that. Well, while they were filming that and it came out,
Yeah.
he ended up passing away from cancer.
So then to go back,
So they cast
It-
well, sorry. Before he died, they cast somebody because he was, hey, look, you're out. You're done.
Mhm.
So he gave the blessing of, hey, this guy can do it. And the guy they got, well, he doesn't look almost the same. He does a very good job. And that was the only time that I've watched something where I went, okay, I'm all right with this. Because again, they didn't do it in the show. They did like a thing before the first episode of the new guy saying, hey, look, what are we supposed to do here? This guy chose this guy. He was beautiful for the role, and we're fucking sad, but he wants us to continue filming.
and I respect that, and it's not something that would like have upset me.
Mm.
It's just one of those things where it's hard to get used to when you've watched,
Oh yeah,
especially when it's a main person.
and
like
he was
The Witcher.
The main, yeah,
Like,
I ain't watching it.
I'm not watching that, and like, I feel bad saying that because I like The Witch. I like the series.
Did you watch the latest season? Because I heard it's atrocious.
We did. I wouldn't call it atrocious. I think that it's a little
Meh.
messy.
Okay.
Like they were trying to, they're trying to.
There's
that
a lot.
story has
There's
a
a
lot.
lot,
So
yeah.
you're trying to accomplish, things, but even at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not coming back for
Liam,
no.
even though it's Liam Hemsworth, you're just like, fuck, I'm out.
They're not even close to the same. Like,
At least do it where either Gerald gets killed, Gerald, whatever.
Gerald.
Either he gets killed or he says, hey, look, I'm out of this. I'm not a Witcher anymore. And then, hey, this is the guy it's not the same character,
Exactly.
so then you don't have to
But
worry about
instead,
that.
they're just going to replace him with this guy and continue with
Right.
the story, and that's just
Now, I have to say Henry Cavill,
Cavill.
sure.
Mm.
He was the one that they said he was trying to be so on the source material that they butted heads, and he was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I remember reading that like he was trying to be really involved
Right.
and stuff, and they were like, yeah, like you said, butting heads. And I mean, I don't fault him.
No,
Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It
Right.
just the show is probably gonna need to realize that since you've chosen this route,
Yeah.
you may lose some people because that's their Witcher.
Right. And the thing too is
Hashtag not my Witcher.
you could say that, hey,
I feel like we need to put a disclaimer on this episode.
oh god,
Like,
you could say you're an actor, stay in your fucking lane. You're not writing the show. You're not executive producing the show.
but so many of them are getting like.
Oh, I know.
When you're passionate too.
Sure,
like,
but you're shut up and do your job. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, leave. And he went, okay, bye.
Yeah. Which that's his choice.
Exactly. Speaking of choices. The fun facts of the fucking week. The Project. What's the what movie we're talking about? The Nice Guys was initially proposed as a TV series, but was retooled as a film after the plot seemed to be going nowhere.
Oh. So it was going to be a whole show.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like this could work as a show. Like, bring these guys in for a Max show or a fucking Netflix show. I want to see Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe and his daughter solving crimes in LA in the 70s.
Or honestly, just his daughter.
Or just his daughter. What's she doing?
They could branch off of that.
Do it.
You know what I mean?
And then he shows up randomly like, hey, I'm looking drunk. Still, right?
Or she even just makes comments about it. Like, ugh, my dad, I got to go pick him up from.
Right, exactly. And then you don't see it. Or you just see her like shutting the car door after she drops him off or something.
God, you scared me.
The dog's just walking around down here. Yeah. When promoting his program, The Loudest Voice on the Howard Stern Show, Russell Crowe said this was one of the 2 films where he wishes there was a sequel as he liked playing the character. The other film was L.A. Confidential. In L.A. Confidential, he plays the same type of character as a thug beating people up for like money, and that was in the 50s. There's some fan theories that because Kim Basinger was in that movie as the same type of person, that this is the continuation of that because he would have been 20 years later and a little older and doing the same shit, which could be cool, but probably not.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
What's he even doing now, Russell Crowe?
He
was in that movie.
I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Oh my God. What was that movie where he had crazy road rage? That just came out like last year.
I don't, what?
Yeah. It started with like crazy road rage. Like this woman like honked at him or something.
The greatest beer run ever?
No.
No. The last thing he was in was The Pope's Exorcist. He was also in Thor, Love and Thunder.
I know that.
Poker Face.
Oh my God. No.
Unhinged?
Now I have yes, Unhinged.
That was in 2020.
Okay, well, it felt like it was only last year.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's still more recent than this movie. So,
hey, remember when he was going to be Mr. Jekyll and Hyde in the Mummy universe, and then the dark universe just didn't happen. Whatever. During March's opening monologue about the downturn of society, a porno theater is in the background. It's playing Bang Bang Kiss Kiss, a play on Shane Black's earlier film, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which also makes sense.
mm-hmm.
Bang Bang Kiss Kiss. Could be Bang Kiss Bang Kiss. No.
Yeah, but you kiss before you bang.
Yeah, you're right. Well, some people.
Usually.
That's
the pre-course. You know, it's
right.
the app.
Here's going to be your favorite fun fact of all time. Are you ready? The body of...
No, I'm not ready.
No, okay.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
The body of Sid Shattuck is played by Robert Downey Jr.
What?
Mm-hmm. So the guy that's dead on the tree with his face all fucked up is Robert Downey Jr.
So he's just
there.
Just there.
Yep.
Just there.
It's awesome.
You think he got paid for that?
No. If it's an uncredited...
Why do you think it, like, how I love when that shit happens, because what were they just on the same...
set, maybe?
Lot, and they were like,
come on over. Well, you got to think Shane Black's done a lot of work, done a lot of things.
Did
Ryan
Iron
Gosling,
Man 3, right?
Iron Man 3, yeah. So, I mean, maybe it was like the
when
same
did Iron Man
kind
3 come out?
2015? Watch it be 20. Watch it be the same year.
It might have been around the time it was made, at least, you know. 2013. Earlier.
Oh, 2013. Okay.
Yeah, so no crossover there probably.
No, definitely not. Well, I mean, they're friends, and maybe they were filming
I love
something
that.
on the same lot. So, like, there's the famous thing, we've talked about this before on Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Daniel Craig is one of the stormtroopers that's interrogating or in the same room being interrogated with Rey because they were filming on the
Or even
Casino
as
Royale
far
or
back
whatever.
as Hook, when
Yep.
Glenn Close was just a random
Right. Going to the boo
pirate.
box.
Yeah, like I love that though. I also love when you don't know that it's like in Free Guy, where Chris Evans is all of a sudden
Just there.
what the shit,
It's
like
hilarious,
watching
yeah.
the thing,
Yep.
or even when you find out later that the guy that the girl meets up with to get the information from is Hugh Jackman.
Mhm.
But like probably just his voice because he doesn't really need to be there for that because his face was covered the whole time.
True.
But like just stuff like that is just I love.
Right,
Did you
like-
see we got a Deadpool 3 announcement?
2024 is the only Marvel movie on slate right now.
July
Yeah.
26th, which is my
We'll
dad's
see.
birthday.
Oh, look. You can take Ray?
And-
You can go with Ray and see
Well, that's the night of one of the concerts we've all been talking about going to, though. One of the 26th and the 27th
Oh.
is
Well,
one
I
of them
mean,
is the
we-
Three Doors Down, blah blah Creed, blah blah blah, and then the other one is Blink.
Oh, well, I mean, we can see the movie. The movie's playing forever. We can only go to concerts when
One
they're
night.
right
I
when they're
know.
there.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yes, I will be going.
Okay.
To see that
Well,
movie.
we'll see.
We also got a new Ghostbusters trailer. So did you see that?
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm excited, but my dad's excited about it
I'm
because
gonna watch it.
I'm excited, and I like that now. At least this time, they are showing that the guys are in it.
Oh yeah.
Where
yeah,
the
yeah.
first one, I liked the surprise, but this one, I think they're gonna get traction by showing that like the guys are gonna be involved in the story this time. And I love that the trailer ends with Paul Rudd just being like, "Yeah," like that scene that the trailer ends on
It's great.
is Paul Rudd just like that weird laugh.
All right, you ready for this? We're changing things up a bit here.
Oh God,
This is going to be going forward for final decision. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a score out of 10, and then we're going to say, is this a must watch, a recommend, or a skip?
okay. So I score out of 10, but now I don't give a reason why now. I'm
mean,
just
no, you
giving
can.
the. Oh.
You can say why you whatever, but
And
then
then it's
also a must watch, a recommend, or a skip. A hop, skip, and a jump.
so something could be a must watch, but not a recommend.
Right, because you got to watch this. But it could also be, well, I recommend you watch this, but you don't, I need
Your
to
life
watch
won't
it.
change.
Right, exactly. Or skip it.
I would give this a 7.5.
So you have, oh, okay.
I'd probably do 7.5.
Sure.
I really enjoy this movie. I think it's got a lot of different things in it. I think they surprisingly it was a good like
It was a good team up.
pairing.
Yeah.
and like I said, I've watched it a couple times. Even like when we first watched it, yeah, it was we haven't seen this movie, we've heard good things, let's watch it. But I've watched it probably at least 2 more times before we chose to watch it for this. So
Sure.
I've gone and chosen to
To
watch
it.
it.
You sure? Yeah.
And I wouldn't call it a must watch, but I would absolutely recommend it. Like if I came across someone who hasn't seen it, I would be like,
Definitely watch it.
you should watch it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to second what you said. I'm going to give this a 7.5 as well.
We're
Yeah, in simpatico today. Yeah, look at that.
simpatico.
Let me read what I wrote here. Once the girl was killed, I sort of checked out because I thought that was the whole point of the movie, and then it brought me back. I have no idea why this movie was such a bomb, as it seems that people just passed it over, and it's an amazing movie with great performances throughout. Ryan Gosling and this drunk, bumbling detective works in the best ways, and a sequel to this would have been amazing with his daughter being older and wiser. Highly recommend this.
It could have almost been like even a Veronica Mars situation where
yeah.
she's like working in the offices with them.
That'd be kind of cool. Or
Love that show, by the way. I've rewatched that one before too.
if you like Veronica Mars, this is going to be a way out of left field show for a recommendation.
Mhm.
It's called iZombie.
I've seen that come up.
Yeah.
I've seen it come up.
Watch it.
Okay.
It's going to hook you immediately.
Okay.
So don't even, I think the title of the show turns a lot of people off, like iZombie. What the fuck?
It
I
looks
have
like
an
it
iPhone.
looks like a teeny bopper. Like
It's not. So the best part of what I could say is every episode is its own nice guys movie where there's a problem or a thing, and that she works in the morgue with a detective, and they have to figure out what happened to this person, this dead body. She's a zombie. In this series, whatever, if she eats the brains of the zombie, she'll have flashbacks, and that will help solve the case. But the thing is, she will take on that person's aura, right? So let's say if they were a magician, well, now
she's in the
she's like doing magic tricks
random.
and shit. Or if they were a French guy or something, now she's speaking French. And it's really good. It's really well acted.
That's funny. You're right though, because I've seen it come up and I've just scrolled past it because it looks like
it's
some teen high school movie.
Trust me, it is right up your alley.
Okay.
Like there's terror's all over it. If you enjoyed anything from the guy that made The Fall of the House of Usher, you've seen the Indian guy that's in all those shows recently.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. Rakhi something whatever. He's one of the main characters in the show.
That. Okay.
And he does a bomb job.
I love those shows, by the way. I meant to talk about it during October, but
yeah. Also, the younger version of the detective in The Fall of House of Usher is the main detective in iZombie. So when they flash back and he's the younger black guy.
Yeah.
So he's the main detective in iZombie with.
Is it a Netflix show?
No, it was on CW, which is
okay.
also why I think people think the same way you're thinking of it, as like, oh, it's a teen kind of whatever show. It was actually made off of a comic book series that was like a graphic kind of thing. Rob Thomas is an executive producer of the show.
Interesting.
And may make an appearance somehow. And it's funny.
Rob Thomas?
Yeah. Smooth.
Was in the new Aviation Gin commercial that Ryan Reynolds just put out.
And that's kind of what kind of got my brain going when we were talking about whatever. Anyways, next week, it is Wally's pick. But he hasn't told me anything. And he's a notoriously non-texter backer.
I know. Actually, Sean, Wally's bandmate, and I were just talking about that.
Pastanowitz. Yes, yeah. Me and Wally have this conversation all the time. If he could be anything in life, it could be a just text me back guy. Just, it's easy.
That's it, the smallest improvement.
Yeah.
And he'd be a 10. 10
out of 10. Let's not go there. Maybe 9.5. Anyways, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to throw it to Tara. It's Tara's pick next week.
Oh, no. Okay.
Well, you're looking for your recommendation.
Yeah.
Or your whatever.
It's a good thing I keep a list, though, because for this.
Throwing it out at you. Anyways, live, on air, figure it out. While you're figuring that out, anybody who is watching or listening still, if you're still here, because, we are talking about the nice guys this entire episode. If you like what you hear, if you like this sultry voice that's somewhat not sick all the time.
I don't really feel like it sounds as different as you think it
I
does.
can hear it. It's a little more raspy. Anyways, if you are liking what you're listening to or watching, feel free to find us on our social medias at The Decision Reel. You can go to our website, decisionreel.com, find all of our episodes, scores, past scores, whatever you want to. There's merch there, like we said earlier. You can buy that and support us. Tara's looking at me like she's got the pick. It's in.
Yeah, I'm going to double check it.
Better be
worth taking over Wally's.
Yes, worth
Wally's
taking
thing.
over that.
Okay. I'm picking... I was trying to pull up the website. It was taking too long to see if you've done it before.
Chris
I don't
Evans
think
is in
that
it.
you have.
Okay.
Black Snake Moan.
No, we have not.
Black Snake Moan is my pick for next week.
We're going Samuel Jackson, motherfucker. And then, why can't I think of her name right? Casper.
Christina Ricci.
Ricci, yep.
I used to love this movie. Now it's been a while, but I've seen it a lot, so I'm excited. Yeah.
I've seen it once. And it was I think it was when it came out. So I don't even
in it too.
I don't even remember it. I remember the stare he gives her. But that's about it. Cool. Next week we're going to do Black Snake
I think
Moan.
we're going to have fun with this one.
And maybe we might talk about some snakes on planes too. I don't know.
Maybe Josh will be, because now he's off his schedule.
Josh might be back. We'll
here.
see. Wally will definitely be here. We're gonna poke him and tell him that he needs to text people back when they text him.
Walter.
Cool. Anyways, bye.
Bye.